Oi, you. How did you get in here? This is the Switch Island Speakeasy. It's the place that Islanders come to chat in secret about other game consoles. So you need a password to get in. And whatever you do not give it to Ben. He's not allowed in for obvious reasons. And well done on guessing today's password, which of course is Sekiro. Anyway, now that you're here, join us as we discuss everything Xbox and PlayStation, plus some other stuff as well. So this is the place to get all the latest gossip about what's going on outside of the Switch bubble, what's worth playing, and more. So joining me today, you can see, since you're watching instead of just listening, we've got, I don't know who I'm going around first, but I'll start with Steve. Hi, Steve. How's it going?
Hello. Hi. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm weirded out by this slightly, but good.
Yeah? Well, as somebody who found out this was happening like 2 minutes beforehand, I'm also a bit weirded out.
Yes.
But coping well. Next, Mike. How are you?
I'm good.
Hello.
I'm all right. I'm surviving.
Excellent.
Seems to be
Surviving's
my
good.
it's my go-to adjective every day these days.
I think it's everybody's really at the moment, isn't it? It's just what we do. And of course, we've also got with us Dan. Nice hat, Dan.
Thanks very much, mate. It's covering a monstrosity of a hairstyle at the moment. So yeah, that's not coming out.
Fair enough.
No?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Can we have a little peek?
Yeah, of course you
Oh God!
Wow. Is it shorter, or is it just that because it's blonde, it just looks shorter?
It's just blonde, Andrew.
Okay.
It's just very, very blonde. Very blonde. I am getting a root, though. So,
Are you?
A
yeah,
single root.
Wow, yeah, one giant root.
One.
The life
one giant
tree!
root.
Yeah, one giant root. Throwback to last night's podcast there. Yeah, one giant root, basically. That was a joke. I've got fuck all.
So, moving on. So we've got a few things for you as we go through this. Obviously, bear with us. We've not done this particular podcast before, but we're going to start with the news. And obviously, usually we do Switch-only news, but now we're doing news for everything apart from Switch. So I'm going to start with the biggest piece of news, which is actually the leaks for The Last of Us Part 2, followed swiftly by the release date for The Last of Us Part 2, which I think is June 15th, I believe it is. Forgot to write that bit down. What do people think about those leaks? Has anybody seen those leaks?
No. Before we do this, for those of us who have been good and have managed to completely avoid this, as well as listeners who have managed to completely avoid it so far, we're not actually going to say
We're not going to
what the leaks
No.
are.
We're not those people.
We are
Mike.
not those
God,
people.
no.
So don't turn off now, because I'm quite proud of the fact that I've managed to avoid it at all. Few close misses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
had
might
some near
have,
misses.
might have actually
Just to be
dropped
clear, though.
Go on, Steve.
I was just going to say, just to be clear, I've also been very good, but I still got spoiled. So it's pretty. There are some nefarious characters out on the internet who are determined to spoil it for people. So annoyingly, I'm pretty pissed about it.
Damn.
Yeah, I was going to say I might drop C-bombs now and again, but I'm not that type of prick that'll come along and then spoil a game for people. I don't actually care too much about The Last of Us 2, so I've already seen the leak, and genuinely don't think it's that big a deal. I'm not going to go into depth, obviously, but yeah, it's not too big a deal. I won't worry about it.
You need to tell me what you saw off mic, because what I saw is a pretty big deal.
Okay, but do you think...
We'll talk about it.
I don't. Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah. Good point. So we've actually picked a news topic that we can't talk about, which is actually quite interesting for the fucking show.
Yeah. True. But I mean, it's what it means. I mean, apparently the person who leaked it was a disgruntled worker, hadn't got paid, and so kind of leaked a bunch of stuff, kind of as revenge, I guess, or to kind of get them to listen to him. I mean, what do we think about that as a
bollocks? Terrible idea.
Yeah, fucking awful.
I am all for sticking it to your boss and telling them to do one if they're mistreating you or whatever, but Naughty Dog aren't going to be hurt by this. This is not going to affect their bottom line. The people who wanted the game are still going to buy the game. They're just not going to enjoy it as much. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe he will. Some people might enjoy it better for having known the spoiler, but I think the majority of people will be annoyed that they now know it it doesn't mean they're not going to go out and buy the game.
No, completely.
Sure.
And I think on that point as well, you are hurting the people that you worked with. Like, again, all of the people that have worked so hard to get that payoff. And we all know, like, we all create stuff. Like, the best part about creating is getting that feedback and people being so positive and like, wow, that was amazing. And like all of the narrative beats that hit to get me to that point, and then you've gone and fucked it because you feel a little bit pissed off at your boss. Now, don't get me wrong, there's probably a really legit reason why that person's done it, but fuck me, you've hurt so many people by doing that. It's horrible.
I was just going to say, like, I'd be reticent to condemn this person too harshly because we don't know what the circumstances were, but what he did was very wrong. And as you say, Dan, the only people he's really hurt are his ex-colleagues who've worked incredibly hard on something that looks like it's had a lot of time and effort put into it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And on the point of that, actually, the game itself, Dan, I know you said you're not particularly interested in it. Has anybody else ordered it? Will they be playing it?
I generally don't pre-order games, but I will be playing it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, me and my girlfriend recently played through the first one, and even though I knew what was happening, it was still I knew what was going to happen. Rather, it's like my third time through it. It's still a fantastic game. Pretty confident this will still be a fantastic game. It's just a shame that I know some of what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Sure.
I just hammered Naughty Dog games for a while, and I think because I went back through Uncharted 2, 3, and 4, it's kind of put me in a bit of a jaded position where Uncharted 4 after Horizon Zero Dawn came out. Is that right? Did it come out after or was it before?
I'm pretty sure it's the other way around.
Yeah, I feel like it was before.
I'm trying to think what game came out that Uncharted 4 was compared to at the time, and basically it wasn't great. The reason I love the game's stunning looking, narrative beats are incredible, the music's usually insane, like just the polish on those games are like absolutely nuts. I haven't seen enough of this to know that they've actually changed up the formula a little bit more to make it more interesting for new players. So that's only where my reservations come, but I'm going to play this. It's probably going to be my game of the year, without shadow of a doubt. It looks stunning. And it is still a fucking shame. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, I've kept spoiler free. I've had this game on order for about 6 months, possibly longer. So I'm very much excited for it. So fingers crossed. I'll continue to be spoiler free, but we will see because Twitter is a bitch. So moving on. Next bit of news.
That's a t-shirt, by the way.
It's true. It's so true.
Yeah. It is. I love Twitter, but it's also a bitch.
You're wrong. I jumped back in recently, and I'm already regretting it.
I mean,
really?
I'm on Twitter all the time, and I fucking hate it. Like, I really wish I could stop.
Yeah.
Toilet.
Sucks.
So we're saying there needs to be some kind of patch for Twitter, kind of weans you off it. It's like, okay.
There's this awesome thing where you can put in words, and it hides them from your feed. And I just do that constantly, whether it's blooming Strictly Come Dancing, whether it's the Bake Off, whether it's The Last of Us 2, whether it's blooming XCOM, anything I want to put in that list, it fucks off and I never see it, and I love it. Best list ever.
That's fair. I probably need to look into that. All right, moving on. Next piece of news. It's a fairly old one, this. I think we've known about this for maybe a few weeks now, but the Xbox Series X, next-gen console, is objectively, technologically speaking, more powerful than the PS5, from what we can tell of the specs that have been shown. I think my question to all three of you, though, is, does it matter?
No. Not at all.
No?
Everyone's getting the
Moving
same
on.
dev kits. Everyone's getting the same fucking dev kit, aren't they? So they're going to be playing around with some similar tech, because imagine if you're a developer or a publisher, whatever, you having to upscale a game to then run on a better console to just look marginally better is pointless. I get there's going to be an extra bit of oomph in the Xbox, or there's going to be a little bit more certain depth in what the PlayStation can do, but who cares? Like, they're going to look absolutely stunning. When we used to playing on a Switch, majority of my time, like going from that to the PS4 Pro, I get an instant erection. It's still absolutely insanely good looking. So
what games are you playing?
Well, we'll get to that later. Stop jumping your head, Steve. Fucking hell. But yeah, it's just, who cares? Like, it's going to look very, very similar. And the TVs as well, like 4K TVs. Like, there's nothing out there yet, unless you get an 8K OLED. But yeah, maybe Mike might. I don't know.
No, I don't. I don't even have a 4K TV at the moment, mate. So having like a 4K console means nothing to me. I think anyone who is super into their specs and really cares about getting the best out of their hardware, most of those kinds of people are gonna go for a PC anyway. Just because the difference, I don't know exactly how much of a jump between the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One X SAD edition, whatever. There's too many Xboxes.
There are, yeah.
It's probably minimal compared to the jump between a console and a PC. So if you're really into your specs, you're going to go for a PC, provided you can afford it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think it's going to matter that much for consoles until the very end of the generation, right? Because we look at some of the games that have come out this year and the tail end of last year that ran iffy on my base PS4. Things like Control or Star Wars Fallen Order, things like that, but run much better on a PS4 Pro. I haven't felt the need to make that jump until the end of the generation. I think the same thing's going to happen with next generation. It'll run fine on a PS5, and just as it does on an Xbox, right up until the end when the PS5 might struggle with some of the late gen games.
I reckon so.
Fair.
I think I was going to say the only other point that I'd make regarding the consoles is like my PlayStation 4 Pro is astounding. Like I said, absolutely lovely console, really, really interesting, but it still sounds like a fucking jet whenever it plays a game. So like, don't give me power, just give me aesthetical bumps. Give me something where I've got a quicker loading time. Give me again a quieter console. Give me something that's a little bit better to look at than just a giant black box in the middle of my room. Some people prefer it. I don't know.
I kind of like it, man. I'm not gonna lie. The tower, the Xbox tower, I kind of like it.
I do actually kind of like that as well. I'll go with the nerd side of that.
Yeah, the weird like alien obelisk.
Yeah, but
it does it for me.
Only thing I don't really get with Microsoft is they've been pushing that marketing line for so many years now of extra power, and it hasn't worked. If anything, it muddies the waters based on what great games they might bring out, that are going to be exclusives. So they bought a fuck ton of developers recently, some absolutely astounding software houses akin to what Sony have got in their first party arsenal. So if they really bring out some amazing games and still banging on about the power of the Xbox, like they're only going to appeal to the people that bought Xboxes previously to that, like who will never divert from Xbox anyway. Own it, like you're going to get some great games. Like, speak louder about those rather than the power of your box.
Sorry.
I mean, they were talking about the power because that's what they had, right? I mean, ultimately, everybody knows it's the games that matter. And this generation, I mean, Microsoft has some good exclusives, but it sort of pales in comparison, really, to Sony, doesn't it? Yeah. In terms of the breadth of their lineup. But it's always been the case in every generation that the both of the lead consoles, one is more powerful than the other, and it's never mattered in the past. Yeah. In fact, more often than not, I think the least powerful console is often the front runner.
It's more accessible.
Yeah,
it's true. It's very true. It's all about the games. I think that's what you've got to keep in mind. So forget teraflops. Let's leave those to one side and let's see what games are going to come out. So let's go on to the next one before we move on to our next segment. One more piece. It's not really a piece of news, but it's something I thought would be interesting to discuss, which is PlayStation Now has just had a sale. So unfortunately, if you're looking at this, watching this now, you probably can't get the sale. But it was down in price to £37.49. And also there's been some great offers on Xbox Game Pass, where you get 6 months for about £30. And I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of talk about those kind of Netflix of game services and how they're kind of coming into their own. I mean, does anybody here subscribe to either of those services?
Yeah, so I'm subscribed not to Games with Gold, but I'm subscribed to PS Now, and I'm generally pretty impressed. Actually, I think the games lineup could be better. but what's there is good. And what is impressive and surprises me is how responsive it is. I always assumed that I would be able to tell, and that the latency would be bad. And while I can tell, I think it is almost imperceptible. The latency is impressive. So yeah,
what kind of games are you playing with it? Are you playing games that need sort of Twitch reactions, or are you playing?
So I played what was the Shadow of War? I played Shadow of War on there, and it is a great game. And I felt like I could tell with that. So, but with some games on the service, you can download them. So I downloaded that one to see if there was difference, and that game's like a little bit unresponsive anyway. So I think it was sort of those two things stacked on top of each other. But we've been playing the Sherlock Holmes game. We like
which one? Which one?
The Devil's Daughter.
I don't think I've played that one.
It's kind of shit, but in an endearing way. So
all of them are.
We're enjoying it. Yeah,
games
absolutely.
I love games like that. Proper comfort food. Brilliant.
Absolutely. They clearly took inspiration from the recent films, because there's so much unnecessary slow-mo in there. Like he goes to drink his tea and it goes.
Oh dear.
But like with games like that, it doesn't matter, and it's really, there's no latency at all, or near as damn it anyway. So yeah, I'm impressed.
So not all of them. You don't have to stream all the game. You can stream every game, can't you? There's some
you can stream every game.
Yes.
Yes. So the PS4 games, I think all of the PS4 games you can download, which is great.
Cool. Yeah.
There just aren't enough of them, I don't think.
No.
And also,
they seem to swap them out a lot.
Yeah, they seem to swap them out a lot, and they're not super clear always as to when they're going to come off the service either. I played Shadow of War for 10 hours, and then it dropped off the service, which I didn't realize. But then it on sale straight afterwards. So basically, I fell into that trap where they tricked me into buying the game anyway.
I was going to say they probably did that because it was going on sale.
Yes.
Yeah, it's calculated.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's got stuff at the moment. It's got Control, so that's a big game. Spider-Man is there till July, I think. It's got F1 2019, which is probably really good at the moment, considering F1 is not on, so people can play it instead. So there's all those kind of games on that.
God of War.
So, Mike, I know you've got an Xbox rather than a PS4. No, you don't. Who's got an Xbox?
I don't.
None of us.
Nobody else has an Xbox.
None of us. No. I used to. I was for the previous generation. I was mainly 360 all the way until the very tail end, where I picked up a PS3 cheap just to go through the games that I couldn't for that generation. But now I'm a PS4. Thank God for this generation gone.
Thank God.
Thank God.
So do you have PS now, or is that just not something you've taken upon?
Again, I think it's mainly because I don't have great Wi-Fi. So I just never bothered with it. I tried it once. I did the 7-day free trial or whatever because I really fancied playing the original Red Dead, which is on PS Now, and of course there's no backwards compatibility. You can't buy a port of it, so it was one of the games that was drawing me in, and the input lag on that was horrendous. But again, it's because I have shitty internet.
Sure, that's fair. Yeah. Dan, you've got PS4 2, no Xbox. This was a bad topic from me. Nobody else has an Xbox.
I bought Games Pass for my PC. And I played it for 1 hour, and I played the Master Chief Collection, and I was like, this is really fun. And then a baby happened, and we had to be a parent and that kind of stuff. So it meant that I couldn't play as many games, and I had a Switch, PlayStation 4 Pro with Spyro on it, because the missus loves Spyro, and then I had the Games Pass. So I do think the Games Pass is amazing, bang for buck. I think the service itself, and I do believe if they can nail that. It's like electric cars have got range anxiety. Like, you're going to worry about where the battery is going to take you to. Like, people are really cautious about it. It's modern fear about cars. In the same way with that, people have got the same fear about subscription services and streaming services. Of like, if I've got Netflix, when the fuck is Lord of the Rings going to fall off it? Should I buy it on Blu-ray? What happens at that point? Am I ever going to be able to watch it again? There's that kind of fear about it, and I do get it. However, if they can nail that vibe, like I think Disney do. So Disney have just gone, right, everything's on here. Like, it's never going anywhere. It's here.
Because
Good
they
luck with that.
own everything.
They
I was going
do
to
own
say,
everything.
Lord of the Rings will leave Netflix when Peter Jackson releases Peter Plus or something like that.
Exactly.
You have to spend another £5 a month for
Is
his
it Warner
film.
Brothers? Is that?
Warner Brothers, yeah.
So if Warner Brothers do the same thing, then yeah, but I'm all for that. If I have to go and buy like £5 times 5 different services to watch those films and know they're going to be there forever, that means I can unsub on one, get back on the other one, and things like Netflix don't have me by the balls. But yeah, in terms of like PS Now, if they've got all their first party games on there and they move to the PS5 and go, right, we're going to have all of our God of War, Spider-Man, anything that comes from our, direct developers, fuck me, that's an amazing lineup for a PS5. And if they go, right, you've got 3 months, 6 months free, it actually turns PS Now into a bit of a game changer and gives that that competitive edge to them.
You need to be able to download everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Steve, you were saying there's some titles you can download, some are streaming only. Is that right?
Yeah. That's probably a backwards compatibility issue, though, I think. So there's a lot of PS3 and PS2 games on there as well.
Probably. But with for example, Xbox Game Pass, I'm pretty sure everything, well, because they've got a much bigger backwards compatibility library you can download.
You have to, because they don't have, because xCloud is still in preview. So
right,
yeah,
well, there you
can
go.
only
So and
download.
that is just so much better for me, because and so many people like me. You think of like across the rural parts of the States or anywhere in the Midlands in the UK or anywhere outside of sort of big cities across the world. That's going to be a huge deal breaker for when it comes to deciding on your next gen console choice. Is okay, they've both got the subscription services. Can I download it rather than stream it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with that as well, if you've again, has anybody got Spotify?
Yes.
Do you ever worry about Spotify? No. Case closed. If they can do that with some sort of gaming service, made up, I'll be chuffed. That'll be amazing.
Cool. I think it's something we'd probably come back to, because it'd be interesting to go over what games are actually on these services at some point and kind of pick out the good ones. But that's for another day, because we've got other things to talk about. And we're actually going to move on to the first segment. Dan, prepare yourself. So let's go. So we're going to be talking about the games that we've been playing recently that we're interested in. So what we've like to call on deck. So what are we playing? Dan, I'm going to start with you. What have you been playing recently?
I have been playing some other games that other people are going to talk about. I've also been playing Spyro 3 because my missus fucking loves those games and she's determined to platinum. Has anyone played any of the Spyro games? As in the latest versions?
Oh, the remake.
They're actually really fun.
So I hear, yeah.
Yeah, weirdly fun. More fun than I actually remember, and the skill points on them are especially difficult to get, but I'm not going to talk about that. I've been playing Persona 5 Royal, which is my all-time favourite game. I think it's going to go up there with Breath of the Wild on a par. I haven't quite split hairs yet over which one's going to win, but it's fucking awesome. It's such a cool game. I think, Steve, you played Persona 5?
I did, and I loved it. And frustratingly, I never finished it. I mean, it's an immense game, and it just overwhelmed me, and I never got to the end of it. I will play at some point. It's like 100 hours, is it?
Oh yeah, comfortably. Yeah, comfortably. In terms of RPGs, it is just all killer.
Yeah,
it's so good.
That's not like 100 hours of like side quests, 100 hours of like 100%ing the game. Like that's the mainline story. That's like 100 hours, right?
Yeah, comfortably 100 hours, I reckon. Yeah. If you then adding in some of the side missions, using your hours effectively in the day. In fact, I'll kind of rewind a little bit, and Steve, you can help me out because I get scatty, and I've had 6 hours sleep, so I might not be the best, which is probably more than Andrew's going to get. Not in that way. That sounded a bit kinky. He gets it on a Wednesday. No. Yeah. What was I talking about? Persona 5 Royal. So it's a JRPG that really doubles down on everything that makes JRPGs amazing. So it is turn-based. It's super stylized. The music is insanely good. Even if you're not really into Japanese RPGs, go and just listen to it on Spotify now, because I'm guaranteed there's some points on there. Is it even on Spotify? I don't actually know. There's some covers on there that are just as good, so go and listen to them. The storyline behind it is fucking weird. If you've ever played a Shin Megami Tensei game, if you played, what was the name of the one that came to Switch recently? The Fire Emblem crossover?
Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Yeah, so imagine that just amplified by £1 million. £1 million? What am I talking about? I love it. I'm so hyped. It's so weird not talking about Nintendo games. So yeah, you play this game and you start off and you're a school kid and you've been sent to a new school and sent completely halfway across the country because you got into a scuffle with some high-powered individual that you don't really know about.
In West Philadelphia. Sorry.
Quite literally is that back in. You meet a gang of misfits in the school, and then you start to kind of like bond with them. All the while, you've got this app on your phone that keeps on appearing, and it's sending you into like this other dimension where there's these things called personas, where they're basically a mask that's set on your face that when you pull them off, they're this ulterior version of yourself. And then you're wearing
Japanese is coming through.
Oh, mate, so yeah, and then it's all about I'm really fucking cool and I'm gonna kill all of you guys. And it's you know what? I can kind of stop there and go into the depths of one mechanical point that really, really makes it cool, and that's the fighting. So you make people, you can stand them up again like a JRPG. You can kind of catch people off guard. You can, you've got to learn certain individual powers to kind of break a character down. So therefore, you get like an extra go on your turn. Just the depth that the combat system's got on its own is enough to make this game incredible. And that's why I give such a hard time to things like Octopath Traveler. I give such a hard time to like Trials of Mana and all the the older JRPGs, because this game makes Final Fantasy look embarrassing at times. Like it's so hyper JRPG. I don't even know where to start. I love it.
I mean, you've always been a fan. I mean, we had for a long time a channel in the Discord that was you basically occasionally coming in and saying, I really want Persona 5 on the Switch. But I mean, Persona 5's been out for a long time now. This is specifically Persona 5 Royal. What have they changed? What's been added to this particular version of it?
Great question. So as an additional character, and what they've done is they fucked about with all of the storylines. So whereas I kind of thought this has just been an aesthetical change, they kind of shoehorn in like an extra bit of almost DLC. Several of the storylines have changed, including one of the mainline characters, which is now changed completely and given that character a character. I won't say who, because Steve, you should definitely play this game if you love Persona 5.
Yeah,
if anything, I didn't complete Persona 5 because I was waiting for it to come out on the Switch. I was exactly the same.
Really?
So I got to, I'd say 80 hours in with it, and I was just exploring. I probably completed 45 hours of the main quest, and I was just like, I don't want to finish this game. I kind of got anxiety over it. But within Royal, what they've now done is they've made it so trying to think of the right word. It's so enthralling. It just pushes me to want to continue the storylines, whereas previously some of them were a little bit weaker than others. Some of the characters that you could I can never remember is it confidant levels where you can build them up. You know what I mean, where you can basically improve that character's bond with the main character, with Hero. So yeah, it's just, what else about it? What else is different?
I don't have time for this game in my life, but I'm probably gonna end up buying it now. And
well, it's interesting you say that, Steve, because I'm just looking at it on the store right now, because I'm in the exact same position. I really don't have time for this in my life. Not because I have other shit to do. I don't. I'm unemployed at the moment. But I have a fucking massive backlog. Like, it's horrendously big. Several JRPGs on there. However, I feel like I should maybe get it while it's on sale.
So good. Wait, Persona 5 Royal is on sale?
No. Persona 5 is on sale. $12.49. Persona 5 Royal is 50 quid. Dan, why should I spend the extra 40 quid?
That is an excellent question, actually.
To be completely honest, I wouldn't. What I'd do first is, for £12.49, that game is a steal, Mike. And is it just the standard version, or is it like the...
Yeah, no, standard version, digital. Yeah.
I would employ you to play it, give it 1 hour, and I guarantee, and this is from an agile project management perspective of how a backlog works, I'm just going, that game will instantly take priority over everything you've got in that backlog, and you will just chip away at it. And in the way that you don't have time, you will find time for that game.
Yeah.
You know those type of games as well, where you find time for. Breath of the Wild was like that. You know that you want to play it, and you'll find it, Mike. Trust me.
Yeah, it's a shame because those kind of games work best on Switch, don't they, Dan?
Fuck you. Just over in the chat very quickly. Scum Death. Yes, man. He's in the chat. P4 on Vita changed my life. It did for me as well. I just want to make that point.
Yeah.
That's kind of what got me
Good
into this.
game.
And I've got the Vita in my top drawer, and it's kind of just sat there, and it makes me feel all warm inside that it's still there ready to go.
Lovely. All right, let's move on to somebody else and what you've been playing. I'm gonna pick, kind of looking at you both. Steve, what have you been playing?
So I recently finished Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, wow. You finished it?
Yes, yeah, we did. We finished it. Me and my girlfriend played through it, and it's fucking dynamite. I love it. Yes. It's so good. And I love it on sort of two levels. I think on the one hand, it is just an excellent game. And I think even people who don't have the same sort of reverence for Final Fantasy VII that I do will still find that it's a really good game. But also, I was so ready. I was so prepared to not like this. I don't know. I have weird kind of anxiety about it. It's weird cynicism about it where I just assume it's going to be disappointing. I think it's a controversial thing to say that Advent Children was shite, right? Like, Advent Children
not at all.
was bad. It's bad. So I just kind of assumed that this would be like Advent Children, particularly since there was talk about them using like assets from that thing, like character models maybe almost made their way into this game.
Right, okay, that's worrying.
It's so good, man. The game is so good. And I kind of have to be careful because, I mean, you know, it's a 20-year-old game, 25-year-old game at this point. So, but it is still spoilable because they do some really surprising things with that game that I think some people won't like. But I definitely liked, and I think it was absolutely the right thing to do when revisiting that. Because, like, if it was just like an up-res Final Fantasy VII, I don't think it would be nearly as interesting, nearly as exciting. Dan, I need you to finish this because I need to have a conversation with someone about what happens.
I like the fact like we've probably only proper met recently over kind of podcasts, and you text me and the other day and you went, I've got things to say about Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was like, I'm really going to like this guy. I was like, yes, we're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII. I think that's what I was going. I literally messaged Andrew. I was like, we're definitely doing this podcast, by the way. Speakeasy is going to fucking happen. We need to talk about it again. Yeah, I think I'm only up to... I've just done the first motorbike part. You know where that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I won't say who kind of turns up. And like, I'm surprised by some of the elements of the game. I don't think it's spoilery to say there's a lot more reference to like Sephiroth early on. I think there's a lot more... It leans harder into knowing the lore of Final Fantasy VII really well, but then it also, I think, tells the story better than the original. Because Final Fantasy VII, like, it's a great story, terribly told, like really poorly. Does everything it can to make it obtuse for the player. Yeah. So, and then it's like an open world RPG goes JRPG again. It's a little bit clunky. Some of the mechanics aren't. It's dated terribly. But this game, it really brings it to life. It makes me want to go back and play the original. Like when I saw Fellowship of the Ring, I was like, right, I need to go and read all the books again because it makes me feel really passionate about it. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to plow more hours into it. I think I probably reserved about 10 with Soph, the missus at the moment. Over the weekend, I might have banked a few hours from doing the odd chore here or there. So if I can try and get them in, 10 hours.
It's not quite as staggeringly dense. I think we did it in about 45 hours, so it's very doable, and that's with all the side quests and stuff. But I think you're right. It leans quite a lot on knowing what, like, having played the original game. And I think if anybody's got any interest in playing the original game before they play this one, I think it probably would enhance your experience if you go into the remake. I mean, if you get that Switch version, you can just whack on all the cheats.
That is exactly what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, and just sail right through it. And I think it would actually I think it would improve the experience.
I wanted to do that. I wanted to play the original before I get the remake, and thank God for those cheats, man, because I would have given up a long time now before 3 times speed and invincibility mode, because I really just want it for the story. Because you're right, Dan, I think you're right. The story is amazing. It is terribly told, probably a lot of localization and translation issues, but the gameplay has dated horribly.
Oh god, yeah, completely. I mean, from a turn-based kind of perspective, it's fine. It does the job, but man, those battles are slow. Like they are fucking. I remember speeding it up because I was trying to be a purist about it when I got it on Switch, and I was like, right, okay, I'm not going to put any of these things on. I was just looking at that speed button, going, all right, go on, I'll do it for a little bit. It'll be fine. And then
it's so easy. You don't even have to go in the menus.
You don't. It kind of ruined it for Ben a bit, I think, because when he played it was the wrong Final Fantasy for him to jump into, and I think Final Fantasy VII for most people, when they were playing quite a lot of 3D games, was probably the wrong one to jump into as well in the series. Like, I don't think I would have loved it half as much if I hadn't played 8 first. And again, probably in order, I put 9, 8, and 7 out of the trilogy. I'd probably go in that order, and to say it was a blessing in disguise that I played 8 before the other 2 to get context of what that game's about. But yeah, it's got its issues, but it's still a fucking lovely game. It's a really, really cool thing. I think the narrative beats in it, again, the way that the music kind of on Final Fantasy VII Remake, some people were criticizing the music. I was getting chills when that battle theme came on the first time. I was it felt like a warm hug.
The stuff that they do with the music in that game is so good. They do so many like remixes and rearrangements. Some of them are indistinguishable, and it wasn't until I went back and listened to the old soundtrack that I was like, "Holy shit, that's that song!" But rearranged so much that I didn't even realize it. The whole Final Fantasy VII aesthetic, like this neo cyberpunk aesthetic, just comes. It's like the best looking game I think I've ever seen. It looks incredible. Yeah, and the music, it nails it. It's just, man, I can't believe how good it was. I was so pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I think the battle system's cool as well, and the necessity to have to move between the 2 different characters, or the 3 or 4. Like, I didn't get it for the first maybe hour or 2, and then I started to play it and started to do some side missions, you know, around I can never remember, sector whatever it was, 7 or wherever the Tifa's bar is. But you know, when you're doing those thank you. When you're doing those side missions, then you start to get to grips with it. Oh shit, yeah, if I do this part this time and use fire at this point and bring it down, I can stagger them at this. Like, that's a really clever battle system for a real-time game.
So when you were talking about Persona 5, it reminded me that it's satisfying in a similar kind of way that Persona 5 is. It's about working out what the enemy's weaknesses are and exploiting them. And then once you've got them exploited, it is so satisfying. You feel so clever. Yeah. And their energy bar just goes down to nothing in an instant. And it's because you've worked out how to do that. Yeah, the battles are also very reminiscent of the original game. I mean, they're completely different. It's a different genre entirely, but it still kind of feels. Do you know what I mean? I think with the ATB bars and people have the same special moves and stuff.
I just think the way that 15. Did you play 15? Anyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had issues with 15, and it's because it didn't feel like a Final Fantasy game. But a lot of the technical elements to 15 have clearly been lifted and shifted into 7. Like, even some of the like the remixes of the songs, those kind of things. Like, even the fact that you can go and get a song and buy it from like an individual or find it somewhere, that's very 15 like. However, like, the fighting system in 15 just didn't gel with me. It didn't work. It's been refined now.
It was just spam circle.
Yeah,
basically.
It was Kingdom Hearts, but even Kingdom Hearts had more nuance to it than 15. And I love Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, so playing 7, I was like, okay, now I'm kind of interested in what Final Fantasy has to say again. So when it comes to the next game, like, if it's linear or not, I don't really care. I just really, really like the direction that they're taking it. And who the fuck cares if it's fucking wacky? Who the fuck cares if you've got to go and find 3 different cats around the place and do a typical fetch quest?
It's great.
Because it just is what it's a game.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying it.
And if that puts them off, they need to go back and play the original and remind themselves, because that was hardly a stone-faced, serious thing the entire way through, was it? I mean, there was some pretty weird stuff in that game. One of them, when you go to Wall Market and the Cloud needs to be disguised as a woman to get into some mansion. I thought they would cut that entirely.
Yeah,
That's in the remake, and they do such a good job.
Yeah. I'm excited to get to that point, and I think on the fetch quest thing, when people have been complaining about it, again, I use the mute button a lot on Twitter these days. Really recommend it. It's fantastic. One of my favorite things. I'm just like, I'm almost screaming at the tweet, going like, okay, just because you don't like something doesn't mean that 90% of the people that play games don't appreciate that point in that game, because that's what makes them play games. They're not playing it in the same way that you're playing it. They enjoy it. And guess what? There's kids out there as well that enjoy that kind of thing. Like the monotonous, repetitive thing. It's a learning mechanism. So
I'll say this. Final Fantasy. So the last thing I'll say. Final Fantasy VII purists are very angry, and the game kind of addresses that. Like, I won't say too much, but the game kind of almost directly addresses that very issue, and that's kind of what I think is so genius about it. Okay. But you should play it to find out what I mean.
Yeah, I need to get this game as well. One quick question before I move on to Mike, Steve. I'm not going to ask you to spoil anything. The ending is quite divisive. Did you like the ending, or were you not so keen on it?
I loved the ending. I'll say it gives me. I hope they nail the next one. Okay. Is what I'll say. I loved the ending, but it does make me worry, and I really hope they can keep the momentum going, and that they make good on what they did with the ending.
This is worth saying for anyone listening who is out of the loop, that this is not the full game. This is just the Midgar section.
Yeah.
Is that right? So it's just the first, I don't know, third of the
Midgar was a quarter? Small part of the first game.
Right. Oh, God, okay. The first disc, wasn't it, I think? Yeah.
So it's Midgar, but very much expanded.
Yeah. Cool. All right, moving on. Mike, what game have you been playing recently? Hello.
So I've been playing Mark of the Ninja Remastered, which is a fantastic little 2D stealth game in which you play as a Walmart employee. No, you play as a ninja. I originally got it on Switch, and then I know we're not allowed to talk. It's not a Switch game podcast. And then I rebought it on PS4 because there was a sale for both copies recently. It was dirt cheap, and the reason I went back and rebought it is it wasn't very long into it that I realized that this is a game for the achievements. Right? It's a fun game in its own right, and it's got a pretty decent story. I wouldn't say it's long enough, but it's one of those games that really encourages you to go back, replay levels in different styles for time attacks, using different weapons, doing it silently, that kind of thing, to get the achievements, not just in-game, but on the console as well. And it was really annoying me that playing it on the Switch, I wanted to go back and do it all these different ways to kind of get all the collectibles and get all the achievements and find all the hidden secrets and stuff. But I wasn't getting that satisfaction from a little thing popping up telling me that I'd done it. Usually I'm not an achievement hunter. I don't really give a crap. I didn't care for my gamer score when I had an Xbox. It's not something I care about necessarily. But this is a game that lands itself really heavily to it. So it's a game in which the story basically is that a ninja clan has been attacked by this mercenary group because you have stolen some equipment from them, and the clans send you out as the protector to wreak revenge on them, sort of thing. And you do this by getting various tattoos, marks on your body that give you different powers as you go along. And the story's quite good. It's 13 or so levels. The remastered one has an extra level as the DLC, which I thought could have gone a bit further. So if you get the remaster, it's about 14 levels. Each level, depending on if you're trying to run through it quickly or if you're really trying to stealth your way through it, can be about half an hour to an hour, maybe a little bit more. Less if you are racing through, and I tried to do it both ways. And it's one of those games where it's pretty much instant death if you're caught. So it's a very heavy stealth game. The art style is fantastic. If you just have a sort of a Google of it, it's got like this sort of almost hand-drawn, sketchy aesthetic to it. Very dark shades. Completely changes whether you're in the light or in the dark. And you're using distraction items. You're using a one-hit kill sword. You're using hiding places, traps, bombs, smoke bombs. Your little grappling hook thing just to zip around the level. And it's really good. But the thing that really hit me is this is the game that made me realize the Switch needs an achievement system. It really does, because I generally don't care or mind about it too much, but there are some games that you just really want one in.
This is like proper speakeasy shit now, isn't it? Where we can talk bad about the Switch. It really, really
Nintendo,
does
man.
need it. Yeah, it does. Absolutely needs an achievement pot, because it's the only thing that stopped me from buying things like Crash on there for Soph, or picking up Spyro, and what's swayed it from the PlayStation perspective, because I was like, well, we kind of want to achieve something together when we're playing these games, and I think the trophy is a good thing to do, and that's something we both really enjoyed. So yeah, I get your point.
And even if it's not for me or anyone here necessarily, I don't know if you guys are generally achievement hunters, there's a huge portion of gamers out there who bank on that, basically, and they don't get that with the Switch.
Yep.
They don't get that.
Haven't Nintendo addressed this directly? Didn't they say people don't care about achievements or something? I'm sure they said something very Nintendo about this.
Some point
a bad look.
I'm like I'm not necessarily proud about the platinums that I've got, because like I said, I've only got 2 and they're for both Spyro games. But in terms of like the the star you get on PlayStation, where it's like it's like a 15.
Your level.
Yeah, your level. And I've bought PlayStation consoles, for God knows how many years, and I like the fact that since the PS3 they've had that. And it's a little bit of legacy, and it's a little bit of a again, I talk about it's a warm hug, of something when you switch on and see that there. And I looked at Andrew's, and his was less, and I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. It's because he only plays 45 minutes of each game, so I was quite happy with it.
Yeah, but it really did. It's I've noticed it since having a Switch, but it hasn't been a problem until now, because each level in this has 3 hidden scrolls to find, 3 score attack things, and 3 optional ways of things to do in the level, basically. So 9 points that you have to hit, and each one, when you hit them at the end of a level, it gives you a coin to then spend on upgrades to go into the next level with. And you can go back and try and redo them, or do it in a completely different way. And so if you're playing on Switch, that's all the sort of replay value you have, is to go back and try and get those 9 for each level. But if you're playing on, say, PS4, where they do have achievements, you've got even more reasons to go back and tackle the level in a completely different way.
Yeah,
because you get other achievements for getting through the whole game without killing anyone, or getting through the game killing everyone, or only using a certain weapon, or getting through the whole game using just this outfit, which, being the remastered version, they've added in new weapons, new outfits, and new items, as you expect from these sorts of things, as well as a DLC level, which could have gone a lot longer. It's 1 level, it's a prequel sort of thing, and it tells a story in one. It is a bit longer, but it was interesting, so I would have wanted a bit more. But it was just, I wouldn't have done it had they not been on sale, had it not been cheap on both consoles. But I probably won't go back to it on Switch, whereas I am going back to it on PS4 a lot to try and finish it off.
Cool.
Because I want that platinum.
You gotta get it. How many have you got?
Yeah.
Oh, platinums?
Yeah.
6 or 7. Again, it's not something I go a lot for.
Steve, Andrew?
So I played this game on PC. I think when it first came out, and yeah, it's great for all the reasons Mike said. The art style in particular is fantastic. It looks like Samurai Jack. It looks like it's got that kind of look to it.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
I should mention the cutscenes are fantastic.
They are.
The level design is great, but the cutscenes really do have this sort of high polished Saturday morning cartoon Samurai Jack-ish look to them.
A lot of these stealth is sound based as well, but it's all visualized on screen, so you can see sound waves. In fact, all of the information you need to be stealthy is on the screen, so you're completely in control at all times. So it lacks that frustration that you get from stealth games. normally, where you don't understand how you got caught or it feels really unfair. So like if you're good enough and you've got good reactions, you can be in control all the time, which is really great. I was excited when I found out this was coming out on the Switch, but I never got it because I read that it was like a compromised version and it runs like at half the frame rate and doesn't look as good. So I just never bothered with the Switch version. But if it's going cheap on a PS4, I might do that.
Slag it off. Get it all out.
In terms of platinum, Steve, do you have any?
Oh, sorry, was that the question you were asking? Another thing about Mark the Ninja that I really like is I've got about 6 or 7, I think.
I have none. I don't think I've got any.
Have you not played any of the Telltale games? Because they give you it just for rolling credits.
I played them on the Xbox.
There is no skill in getting a platinum for a lot of the Telltale games. It's
right.
You get 1 for every chapter you complete and a platinum for finishing the game.
I mean, there is some skill involved because you do have to sit through a Telltale game.
Yeah,
that's not fair. The Walking Dead is good.
The Walking Dead.
First Walking Dead was good.
The first one was, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Dear me.
Rest in peace, the character that shan't be named for spoiling a 15-year-old game or whatever it is.
All right, just for purposes of time, I'm going to speed us along to the next section. So, Dan, next section, please.
Which one?
Which one?
Yeah. There's 2 left, and you said you were dropping one. Which one are you doing?
I'm dropping one. Yeah, I'm dropping one. I've forgotten the names of them.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Let's do sub or snub.
All right, sub or snub. This is where we look at this month's free games. Well, if you subscribe to PS Plus or Xbox Live, you're going to get free games. So this month we have a little bit of a selection. So originally PS Plus, we thought we were going to get, and I don't know where this came from. We thought we were going to get Dying Light and Dark Souls Remastered.
Oh,
2 games
We're
I
not.
would have jumped
why
straight
could we not
into.
have got those? They are so good, both of them.
so
Having
good.
even played them, I would love. God, Dying Light was so good.
Dying Light was good.
Great game. Yeah. But we're not getting those, I'm
No.
afraid.
No,
You're
we're
getting
not.
Pantsu Hunter and Knack 2.
So for PS Plus this month, for May, sorry, is City Skylines
Oh, God.
and Farming Simulator 19.
Well, at least it's the latest one, is all I'll say to that.
There is the
latest
Farming
one.
Simulator 20.
I can't wait to get
Coronavirus got that as
I
well.
was going to say, man, we all got to start building our Farming Simulator Ultimate teams.
Fucking
Right,
imagine.
yeah.
Jesus.
I'll let you know what so games with gold. So what we're getting with Xbox Live. So the Xbox One games are V-Rally 4, and I think that is Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor. And then you get Xbox 360 games, of course. So for the Xbox 360, compatible with the Xbox One, you're getting Sensible World of Soccer and Overlord. So
okay.
So what we're going to do, basically, we'll have a quick chat about it, but you've got to let me know which you'd rather sub to, or if, well, you have to pick one. You have to pick one. Which one are you going to sub, and which one are you going to fuck off, basically?
That's not the name, Andrew. Damn it.
I just wanted to swear, Dan. Let me swear. At least I didn't say the C word, Dan.
Wow, okay, harsh.
Steve, come on, those choices. I know you've only got the PS4, but if you had to choose out of those two.
Say the C word, Steve.
They're both they're both a bit shit, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, they are a bit shit.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just remind me what the Xbox ones were again.
I will. They are V-Rally 4.
Yeah.
Warhammer. That's a completely different game.
Inquisitor.
Warhammer 40k Inquisitor, Sensible World of Soccer, and Overlord.
I can't just snub them both.
I know you want. Why the fuck not? You can't make you do anything.
I'm gonna go for the double snub.
Wow.
Double snub. Oh,
The dub snub.
That needs
Exactly.
some sort of physical action to put like a double snub. But
yeah, we need to. Yeah, you need to get these done. For next time, we'll have these done next time.
Dub snub.
Dub snub. Mike, come on. Are you going to double snub, or is there one that you'd kind of take over the other?
No. I mean, what strikes me is it's quite niche. Both have really niche games choices at the moment. I put out a tweet today saying that about the PS Plus ones. I am quite interested in City Skylines because I have watched a playthrough of someone doing that. I've played a little bit of it before on a mate's PC, and I can enjoy those kind of games. The problem I have with it is there's no way this runs well on a PlayStation. Not runs well, I'm sure it's fine, controls well. This is a mouse and keyboard game, and it's going to suck with a controller.
It's on PS Now, so I have played it, and you are correct.
Yeah, of course. And Farming Simulator is just whatever. Angela Merkel just fucking fingering herself over this game. But
okay.
Wow, I got this for saying the C word. That was far worse. Fucking the German.
So, where that came from?
I'll sub to. Yeah, it's a weird reference. I'll sub to PlayStation just for City Skylines, because I have no interest in Warhammer or racing games really, or soccer games that aren't FIFA, and even then I'm not huge into FIFA. The only one I really like there is Overlord, and I played it. So yeah.
What is it about German agricultural policy that so incenses you?
No. She loves that game apparently. She's all about Farming Simulator as a game.
Wow.
There's a weird picture of her at E3 or EGX or wherever the hell it is, and she's got like a massive smile on her face as she's like driving a fucking JLB around or whatever. JCB, not JLB.
Merkel loves the dirt. That's the tagline for this one, isn't it?
The more you know. Dan, come on, sub or snub. What are you going to go for?
Sorry, seen Ben's. Wow, tuned back into Angela Merkel flicking the bean.
Yeah, that's the content we give you. Enjoy.
Well, that's what you get,
We've
Merkel.
been doing so well.
I know.
Yeah.
Enemy of the show, Angela Merkel.
She is now.
She is fucking. Okay. I'll sub to PS Plus because I haven't played City Skyline, and Farming Simulator sounds fucking atrocious, but it sounds like the type of game you could probably have some fun with. And the games were gold, just non-surplus really. Don't really like rally games. I used to like the old Colin McRae's, but yeah, times are gone. So snub the old games with gold. Sorry, Xbox.
Fair enough.
I know.
Fair enough. I'd sub Xbox just for V-Rally 4. It's not meant to be great, but I wouldn't mind giving it a go for free. And none of the other games are of any interest to me. I have City Skyline on the Switch of all consoles. I have yet to play it. Yeah, I know. I'm not quite sure how that's going to run on the Switch.
Yeah, City Skyline is a good game. It's just not as good as Dark Souls Remastered.
No.
Well, or Dying Light. Yeah.
Or Dying Light. Exactly. It's crazy.
It's for me is the huge thing is the controller. It's not a game that was designed around that, and the concessions you'll have to make.
Sure. I mean, but it can be done. I mean, 2 Point Hospital is a PC game, but it works on console.
It works, but that's because the game's interesting. It's not because the controls work. And the controls don't.
Yeah.
The controls are a fucking pain in that game.
I don't love controlling it. I put up with controlling it because the game's good. Yeah. Whereas City Skyline is much slower, and you have time to really appreciate how difficult it is and how many buttons you're pressing to do a tiny thing.
Sorry, I'm just showing.
What are you trying to do there, Dan?
Scum Death wants to know what I'm drinking. There you go, brother. Big up for being so positive in the chat as well. Oh, you can't see it in your camera. There you go.
No, I was going to say. Oh, you've got 2 cameras. I'm like, oh wow, okay. Nice.
So we live in Liverpool.
All right.
Don't pay fuck all on the mortgage, and we get 2 cameras, Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't speak broke.
So, he doesn't speak broke.
Sorry.
All right, so these will be longer in future. We've got more segments planned, and we've got even hopefully an awesome intro for you when we get that done. So this is kind of just a taster of what the Speakeasy is going to be like. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let us know your thoughts. We didn't get to answer any of your questions from Discord this time. We'll roll those over. I'm sure that they'll be great for next time. And ask us more as well. Any questions you've got, let us know. Yeah, just tell us what you thought, and we will see you again next time we do this. So thank you, everybody.
Just remember the names next time, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking get it right.
All right, all good. I'm off to download Persona 5.
Yes.
Good man. Good man.
I'm gonna go and play Final Fantasy VII Remake. Bye, everyone.
Nice.
Bye.
Bye.
Take it
Bye.
speakeasy.
No, it's not ended yet. No, keep waving. Come
Keep
on.
awkwardly
Bye.
waving.
Hold on.
Smile and wave,
Hold on.
boys.
Keep going. Bye. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it.